Hello and welcome back to the Listening Party podcast, The Best Bits. It's been a minute. Well, I guess we've been a little bit busy though. You guys forgive me, right? Right? May's theme was magic, and these songs were pretty magical. Who the hell writes this shit? Anyways, sit back and enjoy this month's Listening Party podcast, The Best Bits.
Oh, God, I'm getting too old for this shit. Right, I'm coming out of retirement, boys. And first up for tonight's show, we have a regular. A regular since day one. Paul Farrell submitted his 172nd song submission. That's a lot of S's. Anyway, Paul, take it away. This is your song, your moment.
Because of the usual time constraints, I thought I'll keep it simple. So I did some simple lyrics, came up with one beat, just played lots of guitars and amps and things, and then strung it all together. But it's for the first time I actually tried singing it rather than just talking over it. So if you think I'm on the right track, then please let me know.
Oh, magic woman. Oh, magic woman, yes, I love you. Magic woman, you pull the heart from my chest.
Definitely the harmonising works for that one. Particularly the not harmonising the whole way, actually doing it and then, yeah. But you can also double it, so you've just making the whole sound fuller.
Yeah. Usually my double track is the guide track that I did. So sometimes it's in, sometimes it's out.
Yeah.
I just sort of take it as random.
Was that the case this time? Was the other track? Okay.
Yeah, but because of the beat, I knew where the beat was, so I got it more or less right the first time.
Yeah.
Can I say something? I think you've got a great voice in there, Paul. I've never seen myself as a vocalist, and there's some really nice little parts in there. And I think the more you sing and the more you attack it and keep doing it, you develop and you sort of listen to it as you're recording your songs. You're listening to how you're doing stuff, and that really sort of guides you in yourself. But yeah, you've definitely got a really good voice, and it's just practice and keep doing it. I have got a sheet. I'll see if I can put a photograph somewhere. I'm sure she won't mind. This lady, she's very old, but she gave me a sheet of just a guidance about singing and how you pronounce. It was really useful. It's just one A4 sheet she gave me. I'll post it. I'll post it on the forum or something. Yeah. But yeah, definitely, you keep doing it, man. Really enjoyed that. Love the really catchy song.
I think the way that you attacked the vocals as well, they sat really lovely with the chord progression, because the chord progression was a great hook in itself on the guitar. And I like that you mixed the guitar up in, I think it was the second verse, you kind of brought in a bit of a heavier sound with the guitar, and it just blended really nicely with this sort of real nice melodic vocal that you were doing. It was a real nice change up, Paul. I think you're right. You've gone for this kind of trippy sort of performance with your vocals in the past, a few songs that you've recently done, and it was nice to hear a variation and you sort of sing it differently. And yeah, I think I completely agree and echo what both Carys and Tim just said there. I think you've definitely got a really nice voice now. You just need to practice it, and I'm sure that you're going to feel more comfortable with performing it. And I think Tim can vouch for that, obviously now doing sort of live shows himself or whatever. But yeah, man, I thought it was really good. It's really good. I think probably the one thing I would say for me, just again, it's just my own ears, I think the Oh Magic Woman, the double vocals work really well. It was like a nice kind of pairing together. But I would have probably dropped the backing track for the quickly spoken sort of performance afterwards, just so you can get some more clarity in there. I don't think that needed the harmony to thicken it out. But that first hook, that was great, man. That needed the harmony. That's just my opinion. Again, take it or leave it, whatever. But yeah, really, really nice though, dude. Really enjoyed it.
But yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was instantly catchy, great rhythm. I sort of tapping along. It's much more upbeat than your usual stuff, much livelier. But really good. It also had your sort of quite distinctive guitar sound and style, which I've sort of recognised over your recent missions. But yeah, really good. Love it.
Yes.
I'll take 2 shots of Jack, a tequila. Yeah. No, I'm on lunch hour. Oh, I think I'm meant to be introducing that guy. Who is that? Is that Will up there? Is that Will? Will, I meant to introduce you. I was meant to introduce you, Will. All right, everybody. Well, I guess Will's taking it away. It's Will.
Some other guy. The microphone's a drug. You start to feel high. Every doubt, every fear will fade away. Step into the light. You're there to stay like magic. That other guy becomes you.
That was absolutely brilliant, Will.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was completely captivated by that, man. That was that was such a great song submission, dude. Congratulations, man. I thoroughly enjoyed that. So what we were looking for in terms of feedback was, does the lyrics tell the story and do you get yourself immersed within the story? So would anybody like to take the lead and offer their 2 punts about that? Does anybody agree that came across?
It absolutely did.
Yeah, what can you say? It was a great story, wasn't it? It took us right from the beginning of the night, right to the end of it. All the fears diminished and everything. I mean, story-wise, couldn't fault it. It's like it was good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic lyrics. Really, really top job, Will.
It was you, Tim. You know, I was watching you on the stage, and I thought he's getting into it now. You'll never get him off the stage now.
Apparently, I was dancing according to Glenn.
Yeah,
A little move.
There
were two. No, brilliant lyrics. Really, really captivating. Oh, I'm glad I inspired you, man.
Can I make a cheeky suggestion?
Go on.
About I was hearing something slightly different at the end of the chorus. So what's it when the spotlight's on and it's your cue, like magic, you're that other guy, and end it there rather than having the becomes you, because that to me just felt slightly redundant. That was my only issue with the song. I loved it apart from that.
Okay, that's good. Thank you very much.
Just a thought to maybe try potentially. No, I love what you've done there.
Oh, thank you. I mean, what actually did I'm working on this piece of software that I'm getting into for to get into MIDI. You may not have noticed the main chord structure. It starts as an acoustic guitar, and then what I did, I took the MIDI track and put it into a piano or something, and then put it into a clavichord or something else. Yeah. And because what I'm just blown away by what you can do with MIDI. I mean, I always say it's nothing cheating in songwriting, but that's getting close.
It feels like it, doesn't it?
I was going to ask that obviously was an exercise in MIDI use.
Yeah.
All of that, you've programmed all parts. You don't play. That's like I say, I could tell with the piano and that.
Well, so the only part I played was the synthesizer in the middle, because I bought myself a MIDI controller.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, a piano controller.
My main piano has got MIDI in it, but I could sit the conservative with. So I just ran a couple of phrases around, completely out of time, and then quantized it.
Yeah.
Bandwidth. It is getting close to cheating, but I'm not cheating yet.
No, well, the idea's coming from you. It's just, like I say, I can't play piano. I've used it a couple of times, but that quantize button is brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, look, I think it's not cheating. I think you're a chef in the kitchen using all of the ingredients at your disposal, and I think the story, the lyrics, it all gelled really well. I think the composition's written by you, so I think we need to hold the brakes when we say that we're cheating, because I don't think we're. I think if you asked AI to construct that song for you and you didn't even sing it, I think we could probably call that cheating. Jake T, I just saw your message. If it's cheating, then I'm a fraud. So there you go.
Knock, knock. Well, who's there? It's Bono. Bono who? Richard Bawden? What? That sounded funnier in my head, everybody. I really apologize for that joke. It's Richard Bawden next, everybody. Here we go.
There we go. So that was Richard's song there, everybody. And Richard, you were after some pointers with your production, if possible. So I think, again, probably a good person to ask would be either Jared or Jake, if you're both available and got any kind of pointers or anything that you've heard.
Yeah, I really like the song, first of all. I really like rock music, so this hit with me. I think the only thing production-wise that I would maybe think about is putting your vocals more forward, because there's a lot happening in the mix. So that's actually the only thing I was thinking about, because in the beginning I noticed you were playing with space with the drums, which was really good. So no, good job, dude.
Thank you. Yeah, it was sort of the verse vocals. I was sort of struggling. They were either too prominent or too in the mix. That's where I was struggling. So I probably erred on the safe side to my ear.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think with the vocal being either too quiet or too loud, I don't know whether you've messed around much with automation, but you could automate the volume on a vocal. It's a very common mixing technique that is used in pop, really, where mixing engineers will actually completely flatten the dynamics. So you'll end up with an audio file that is almost exactly the same volume all the way through a track. I think that might solve it a bit for you. Might make it a bit easier to mix, because that was something I did notice, was there's just a couple of words that dropped out. But
yeah, so you'd automate that. You'd actually physically, you'd automate physically, making it louder and quieter. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a time-consuming part of the process, but you'll notice a huge shift in the pronunciation of certain wording if you're kind of losing them in the mix. Whether it transition from like a verse to a chorus, just kind of give it a little boost here and there, and take something off of an S or whatever it might be. You start to see it, but it's kind of like a fine-tooth comb, you know. It depends on what kind of DAW you're using, but yeah, it can be quite time-consuming, but it's definitely worth it if you're really struggling to find those balancing issues with bringing something in the front of the mix or whatever.
Okay, cool.
I pretty much wrote exactly that. All right, it's quite time-consuming, but once you do it, the effects are very, very obvious.
Yeah, definitely. Just one other sort of point, the drum beat was phenomenal. Like that, the verse was so catchy, dude. Like, well, I know Glenn's obviously a drummer, so he probably enjoyed it a lot, but I was just sort of bopping along. Was it an offbeat hi-hat? I couldn't really work out what it is that you were doing there. Like,
there was a lot going on with that hi-hat.
Yeah.
There was also some delay on that hi-hat as well.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of modulation going on it as well. So that was sort of adding to the hi-hat. That's kind of where it started. It all started. The hi-hat was the first thing.
What was it, Richard? Was it MIDI, or have you got electronic drum kit, or?
It's MIDI. Cheated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not cheated.
It's only better than me.
But I was playing it on pads. So that's yeah. So I find it really hard to go through and hit the right the right note interval when I'm programming it like that. So I have to do it with my fingers on a pad.
Yeah, fair enough, dude. Yeah, I thought the whole kind of last section of the song, the beat was really interesting. It was kind of like an offbeat, but then also there was like the kick almost sounded like an additional snare. So it felt like two drummers kind of like just playing out, which was really cool, man. I just thoroughly enjoyed the drum bit. I was like, we need to mention that at least. Yeah, it was very cool.
Cheers, thank you.
Yeah, I didn't want to seem too critical. Actually, it was a really well produced track. Was there a bit of auto panning on one of the guitars?
Yeah, there was.
Yeah. I thought that's going. I ended up having to switch from my speakers to my headphones just to like make sure that was actually happening, and it wasn't just like my setup going wrong or something. Because I was like, I'm fairly sure that guitar's moving. Like it feels like it's going from left to right. But,
there's just one in the background just playing a chord, but yeah, panning.
Yeah, it was really cool. If I, again, to raise just a little bit of criticism, if there was anything I'd say that like use even more of that width. That's something that I've tried to do. So that might just be my own like sort of internal criticism coming out there, but yeah, I feel like you've now like started to push out a bit more, keep going, like throw something like really hard right, really hard left.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, no, it was really, really good. It was really well mixed, really well produced.
If he's not busy listening to his CDs, Glenn sometimes finds the time to write a great song. Inspired by Echo and the Bunnyman, this is his latest song submission by Glenn Feeney. Here we go, everybody!
Yeah, well, I dug a few of my old CDs out. I've not many left, but I was looking at Echo and the Bunnymen. Anybody remember them?
Oh, yeah.
Right. 'Cause I was trying to think what I could do with guitar. I'm not a guitarist. I don't even pretend to be. And I realised that they didn't do a lot of rhythm. It was all like little chops, if that's the right expression, little dings here and there. So I tried to do that on this. So I'm definitely not sure if it worked or not. And I think I think it's the second chorus, I bring the rhythm in, and I think that might be a mistake. So a little bit of advice from the guitarist maybe about how I can not improve my guitaring. That'll come in time, obviously, by other means. But on what to put in, rhythm, chops, whatever, or whatever the expressions are.
I think the guitar in the second verse was where you want to be. And what I do sometimes to aid the melodic and the harmonic and the rest of it is I would put a little bass line in, just on the root note, if you like, just going boom, boom, just to give it some sort of strength in it.
I had a bit of a bass line in, but I think the production was really down this month.
Yeah.
You know,
even if you just do it on like the low, or the low E string, just go boom, boom, boom down it or something, just to fill it out.
It helps. I find bass lines really help with your lyrics. So when you're phrasing and stuff like that, there's those key notes are really quite crucial, and that really helps to sort of just solidify the song. And enhance it. It does enhance it a lot, I think. So yeah, Paul's right. You just try and put a bass line. I know that production's always, can not necessarily be that easy to do that. But I quite often work with just the bass line when I'm doing the lyrics, because you can just use those. You're using the core notes. You're using all those root notes and stuff. And for your chords, and then you can like say you've experimented with different chords.
Yeah.
But if you're using just really, really core bass notes, you can experiment, and then you can add other stuff over the top of it.
Yeah,
that's quite important to put in there, I think.
Yeah, I'm working on a soul one at the moment, and I'm sort of using the bass as the main instrument there, with just a little chops here and there. So
yeah, but it does help. It helps sort of get that the foundation of the song, because like I say, you've got like I say with the different sort of variants on the guitar chords. But if you like Paul was saying, some just core bass notes in there, that does really help.
Yeah.
I've actually got a bit of a caveat to that, actually, because it kind of brings me on to what I was going to suggest. I think the build-up sections, your performance and your philosophy of how you were hitting some of the strings was really well done. It kind of built and added some tension in there. But I think something that would work really well, that would go alongside what the pair of them just said, is palm muting. So if you palm muted those root notes that you'd usually play on bass, you'd add a general kind of thickness and kind of sort of bigger sound to the overall sort of sound of the song. You're adding those tension, those kind of drop down sections where you're building back up with the drums. If you just kind of chug on the guitar like dum 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 dum, just kind of bring through those kind of 4 or 5 chord notes that you're playing.
Yeah,
I think it would just kind of add a kind of a more performance kind of feel, a live kind of feel to it. But yeah, if you're struggling to get the bass sound to come through, just try and maybe add another track and just put down some palm muting. I think you'll kind of get better, bigger sound out of it.
Can I add a quick tip in there as well, Glenn? So yeah, it's actually a really, rather than having to boost the bass loads, you could add a bit of what's like saturation, and that'll give it just like a slight growl, a bit more harmonic content higher up as well, so it's more audible higher up the range.
Would you like to play a game? I love those Saw films. Aren't they crazy? Sometimes I just like to kick back with a baguette, listen to Coldplay, and just watch one of the Saw films. Well, if we're playing games, we may as well play another game. And the next game we're going to play is Guess the Genre of Pete Youngman's Song Submission. So, Pete, could you take it away for us?
It's quite a different style from me, really. It's not my usual indie pop. It's I don't know what it is, really. You tell me, but I can find out. The music idea came from literally just 2 chords, pretty basic chords. I think there's a minor 7th in there, and a little melody I had over it. Well, I quite like that. So that's how sort of the lyrics got written. There's another 3 chords for the chorus, and that's it. It's usual, quite simple. Because of that, I've gone a bit heavy on the MIDI this month, so that's a bit of a sort of a trial for me. Lyrically, again, it's sort of quite different for me. It's quite personal, which I don't tend to do, because I can be a bit crap socially, shall we say. So I'm sort of out and about. I can literally disappear from the conversation and everything for some time. So that's effectively what it's about, really. There's a very loose theme linked to the theme, but there you go.
But just not for me. 'Cause in truth it's quite tragic, and I'll never know what this will be.
A gothic lo-fi ballad. I didn't think those 3 genres could somehow blend together, man, but you somehow made it work, and it worked really well, dude.
On the strength of the melody, I think it's fantastic. It doesn't need any more chords, and the embellishments with the instruments add to that melody even more. I think it was great.
Yeah, I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. I think, I mean, some of my favorite musicians and bands, literally, they make a living on 3 or 4 chords, dude. So I wouldn't. I mean, Blink-182 is a perfect example. Weezer, 2 of like my favorite bands from when I was a kid, and I'd still listen to them now, man. Like they know 3 chords. It's so. Yeah, it doesn't. It's simplicity is sometimes overlooked, and I think if we realize it's only 3 chords or 4 chords, we're like, oh, maybe I should add in a 5th or a 6th here, but you didn't need it. It gave you so much more room and space to do what was just mentioned then by Nigel. You know, you can embellish with all these wonderful vocals and different MIDI parts. I think, simple is nice, and it was very nice.
And as for the drums, same again as Robbie just said, simplicity is key with some songs. I mean, if you look at something like Tennessee Whiskey, fantastic song, and it's just the same simple drum beat all the way through. And even the fills are like just 2 beats, you know. So the drums should match the song, and they did in that case. A lot of time, the Motown stuff is really basic, you know. Even the fills are just very short. So, you know, I don't have to be John Bonham every time.
I can see the amount of work and thought that's gone into structuring what you do, and when you drop it and then you bring it up again. It's having gone through that myself on writing, I can see it, and it's great. I love it.
Nice one, cheers. Cool.
Yeah, I think that's really key. Actually, I think you've mentioned a lot when you talk about other musicians on here song. You say feel. You say like this is a really good feel to it, and I think you kind of that comes through in your own sort of songs here. You can see that you're focusing on the dynamics. And I think that's kind of what Will was alluding to there. You can see it in your lyrics. You can see it in each section. Like you're very aware of, you know. It's funny. I'm about to say you're very aware of like not putting too much in, but you're talking about only having 3 chords and feeling like a little bit sensitive around that. But actually, you can see it in your music. You're thinking about it. It's all with intention. It's very well pieced together. It's not like let's just grab these 2 edge pieces and somehow make them work or whatever, you know. And I think that's a really difficult thing to do. So if that comes naturally to you, man, run with that because. It's very well sought after for sure.
I think that's how you can work with 3 chords as well, because you can have all of those different feelings.
Yeah,
and the amount of work you did there with the 3, like everybody said, you wouldn't realise those were 3 chords because there was so much feeling in that, and it changed, and there was dynamics. So I think if you needed another chord, you'd know, and you just naturally put it in there, but you didn't. So that's why it worked.
Cool. I can say basic. Brilliant.
Oh, yeah. Gotta drink that coffee. Keep yourself pumped and ready to go. Where were we? Right. Next up is Tim, and here's an interesting fact about Tim. Tim has started playing his music live, so he needs some critique, he needs some advice, he needs some guidance, because he's going to be playing this song, probably, live to a group of people. Let's give it to him.
I think this song needs a lot of evolving. Lyrics, I really, really do struggle with my lyrics still. I just don't. The content, I couldn't. I had an idea and I just couldn't get it into words. And in the end, I just had to. Well, I'm going to go with this because it's kind of evolving. And like as you know, I've been going out playing, and I've been noticed that with some of my older songs as well. Is that when you start playing, and these ideas come, and so I suppose it's evolving. So lyrical content, I haven't managed to make any of the lyric workshops yet, but I find my stuff's a bit cheesy. But and anything else? Guitar parts are very bland. I wasn't very inspired. I didn't have much time, and I kind of just laid it down, and so it's like different sounds doing the same thing. So advice on guitars, what people do, they like inverted chords and stuff. I don't know much about that. So any advice on the guitars, what you would do?
So if you've been staying in and hiding yourself away, staying out of circulation for 5 to many days, living alone's okay, but we all need a friend, somebody to share your thoughts as the days draw to an end.
There's one thing I wanted to say about the lyrics, and that was that I don't think you need to be afraid of having really positive lyrics. I think you said about them. I always write things that are really miserable because that's how songs are supposed to sound.
Well, I'm pretty miserable, so I try and pick myself up.
Right.
Convince myself that this is the way forward. But it always sounds to me really like, am I just being cheesy? But I don't know.
No, it just comes through as genuine to me. So I just thought I would reassure you that it's not. Yeah, it doesn't sound like cliches. It sounds like what somebody's saying.
Yeah, to me, I mean, it's coming from all my stuff. Pretty sort of heart on my sleeve stuff. I don't. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, but I just when I look at it, I think, is that just with cheese?
Yeah. It's but it doesn't come across as cheesy. It comes across as affirming and good. So I just wanted to share that.
Okay.
Well, John Lennon once said, somebody asked him, is it easy to like write lyrics? And he said, yeah, this is John Lennon, by the way. And he said, it's easy. He said, you just think what you want to say what you mean and mean what you say, or something like that, and then put a couple of rhymes in. And to be honest, that your lyrics do exactly that. They do sound like they're coming straight from your heart. They're very conversational and stuff. And how you want to rhyme it and stuff like that is that completely up to you. That's your artistic choice, isn't it? But what it comes across, it absolutely sounds conversational, and just it tells the story. And the title itself is the embodiment of the whole song. And if you try and concentrate on the title and build the chorus around the title, I know you got the title in it, but actually build it around it, so that comes the heartbeat of the song.
Yeah.
And but the lyrics, the way you write it sounds fine. I
actually had to think what I was going to call it at the end when I was submitting it. There's a confession. I picked some words. There's something in there. I'll bear that in mind then for future. I'll try and start with the title.
We all have a working title, and you can change it at the end. That's fine.
I thought just because I'm listening to it, I have to sort of dip in and dip out. But one of the things, apart from I think the lyrics are wonderful and the singing's amazing. Was a bit of criticism as you were asking for it is that I thought there was no vocal breaks. I thought you sang pretty much like consistently the whole way through, and I thought it would be really nice to have a few moments where the lyrics drop out.
Yeah.
Felt a bit too metronomic, if you know what I mean. And whereas, you know, I can't fault them. I thought the lyrics, I thought everything else was fantastic. But you know, if you after you listen to that song, maybe, you know, 5 or 6, 7, 8 times, you might find that you know, just be nice to have a breather in there, just particularly in between like the verses and the choruses. Maybe just like a few seconds of just you know, just the music. Sorry, I know I hate to be the critical one. You know, I feel really guilty. I do think that that's how we learn, that's how we improve, and you know, I certainly welcome any constructive criticism for my attempts.
No, that's cool. No, that's a really valid point. Well, I was quite conscious this time. I put the time instead of having the beats and minutes. I put the time because I always notice that my songs go on a bit, but and so I kind of try to make it snappy. But yeah, normally so I think that's a really valid point, Henry.
Tim, I'd like to say that really, really great. I can't remember what I was going to say. I think I think I agree with Henry's. Henry's comment. There's a little bit before the bridge at the end where there's a small sort of break, and it's kind of like a little bass. I don't know if it's 2 bars or something, but that bit really, really jumped out at me. And then you're back into like the chorus, and that's what I was going to say. Yeah, your chorus really upbeat, and it feels genuine. I like the genuine feel to your songs this month and previously as well. It always feels honest and upbeat, but also bittersweet at times. And I think you have that nice balance.
I've got a few suggestions for the guitars actually. So the second verse, I think the point what you were saying there, Nigel, about the drop down section where it was just bass and drums, I think you should do that before. I think that should be the second verse. The second verse, the guitar in there, because if you're concerned about if you're playing enough or what you're playing, you probably are playing enough. You're just overusing it, so you're not having any variation. It's not having its own moment. And I think you played that consistently, that kind of choppiness, that kind of funk kind of like vibe on the guitar. Play less of it, but the same kind of patterns and same chord choices. So I'd take it out the second verse, and I would probably bring that into like the bridge and have that kind of that scratchiness, the sort of funk to build up that kind of outro. And I'd probably play around with some melodic kind of lead instead of having too scratchy kind of composing. Like trying to fight for the same sort of space, aren't they? Because
that's what I felt like. It was all it was the same, basically the same thing in different sounds.
I can imagine, because obviously you're a bassist, it's an easy transition. You're not thinking about melodic lead. You're thinking, how can I make this rhythmic? How can I make this have a kind of groove to it? And I think if they're both doing similar things, it's like my ears need to be able to kind of pick them out. So I would say try just having a lead line. That's quite a bold move for you to do, because you probably want to play safe and just have something in there to kind of support the sound. But why don't you just play 3 or 4 notes? I think Richard does it like beautifully with some of his. It's like lots of space between those notes, man. It's a real fine art, but use this as a platform to try it, mate. I think but yeah, you definitely you are right. The groovy stuff that you were playing was really good. It's just trying to place them in it, instead of trying to throw it all at the wall and see what sort of sticks, sort of thing. But there's definitely enough in there, so don't feel too down about what you were playing on guitar, because I thought it was really cool.
Listen up, everybody. We got a doozy on our hands here. We got another song submission from Carys, and she has submitted some interesting music in her time. Storytelling, and hey, whoa. Most importantly, this song submission, it has the word bile in it. Who the funk, eh? Who the funk? Take it away, Carys. Take it away.
This is a story. It's based on a Suffolk folk tale. It's based on The Cunning Man of Ipswich, which is 25 minutes from me, which is where I'm going to be at 12:30. Happy with the lyrics, happy with the rhymes. the bass line that basically just goes all the way through, that makes me happy. The fact that the chords change slightly on nearly every verse, so I am never, ever going to be able to memorize this one. And there's a random key change in there that also makes me happy. The acoustic guitar, I cannot stress how strongly that it is horrible. It's incompetent. I shouldn't have been allowed to record it, and it needs killing with fire and replacing. I had no time to work on the drum track, so it's literally... Stop laughing. Stop laughing at the back. I can see you.
Sorry.
It's literally exactly the same all the way through. Plus, of course, Logic has just updated, so it's not a drummer, it's now a session musician, so all the things have changed. I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing here? So I started actually writing on Thursday at about 10 o'clock, as in started recording, sorry. And then I think I submitted it at 2:15. So yeah. Anyway, it needs a solo that isn't me going la la la. So any extra instruments feel free to suggest. Electric guitar, yes. So I apologise for this foray into full-on folk rock.
At light. So in the tavern with fine ale, poor winter soon was plied. Full drunk on ale at last, poor winter slut. Mrs. Pet's no witch at all, because I would have heard, but they 6 sheep after her and let the bees.
I don't think it needed a great deal more. The guitar and the like I say, the bass line was simple. I think you were saying about some sort of instrumentation in that break where you were singing.
Yeah, I want some electric guitar in there.
Yeah, something like that would fit, or even get a fiddler. Get a bit of fiddle in there as well.
Funny you should say that.
And what have you got? Oh, fiddler to underpin. There you go. That's what I was hearing. That's what I would have. Yeah. So get. You must know a fiddle player in your circle.
I know who I'd like to get.
Who's that?
Athena from Steel Ice Band.
Oh.
No surprise. I actually saw them on the Wednesday and then recorded that on the Thursday morning.
Oh, yeah. No, that's all I'd say. Keep it. The guitar's good. It's sort of it doesn't need it. No,
the guitar will be fine when I've redone it and it hasn't got all the twangs in it and I wasn't doing a literal play right through.
Exactly. Like I say, it was a rush job. But I would say it doesn't need a great deal more. But I say, yeah, a bit of fiddle would work in that sort of folk rock vibe. I like a guy, Gaz Brookfield, and he has there's a chap, he lives quite local, Benny Wayne, who's awesome, and he plays with loads of different people, and he'll just come along and just embellishes that whole, keeps the story going and just gives a little bit of glitter to it all. But yeah, you could have had a little fiddle break in the middle there.
I find it so fascinating that the majority of the chords and the sort of structure was built around a major note choice. And the lyrics were so dark in terms of tone that
I love doing that. Yes,
such a great sort of oxymoron. The fact that it's sort of like worlds apart, and I just thought that was great. It kind of suckers you into like a false sense of security, and then all of a sudden it's like,
hang on, what's going on here?
Yeah, like someone's throwing up bile. I'm like, dude, how's she done that, man? Like, fair play, like. Yeah.
I must admit, I was very proud of getting the phrase "ghastly immolation" into a line.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it was really cool. Really interesting work with the lyrics. Obviously, great storytelling as usual.
I must admit, when I'm recording, I tend to need that much drum because if I'm doing it and I'm actually keeping to a beat, I cannot follow a metronome.
Yeah.
I cannot follow a single beat. I need a full drum kit to keep me in rhythm.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are like that. Even if you're going to take it out afterwards, just to keep. Yeah, I can't play too thick.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah. I mean, quite often when I'm before I even think about what the drum beat's going to be, I literally just put what they call the money beat down, which is just basically kick on 1 and 3, snare on 2 and 4, and minimal. So it's basically just bass, snare, bass, snare, bass, snare. Or just to keep it going, and then it just keeps you on it, because that backbeat on the snare is the most important bit, really. It's just quite a simple beat, and quite often. It probably do the trick anyway. You probably don't need any embellishment, because we get carried away sometimes, can't we? With like, I better put a fill in just to show off. But if it doesn't need it, it doesn't need it, does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a major announcement to make. Nigel Davis is submitting for his 27th song submission, and he isn't slowing down one bit. He's not struggling. He's not getting writer's block. This is just coming so goddamn easy for him. Take it away, Nigel. Show us how it's done.
I really struggled with this theme. I think I had 3 songs that I started and didn't get anywhere with.
Wow.
So I recorded this one this week. Recorded it Wednesday, Thursday. The vocals. So I've got a new MacBook, and I've got a microphone rather than using the inline microphone for the headphones. So the placement of the microphone, I'm still working on that. So it was interesting to hear tips about automation to bring the vocal level in line earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a helpful tip already.
Yeah.
So general feedback is always welcome. There's always things that I'm trying to look to improve, and a lot of trial and error went into this one. First one recording on a MacBook, still using GarageBand. I haven't shelled out for Logic Pro yet, but yeah, still learning. And yeah, it's called Wishes in Progress, but it's like work in progress.
We urge to be someone else. I've got 20 odd miles with the one I love. 1, 2, 3, she says. The best magic can come from the worst of pain. Telling tales of master brave. Stepping out for the first time.
Yeah, I think that's like probably one of the best you've written in a long time, dude. That was like really up there. That just grew and grew and grew. And I think Jake said this is the moneymaker. It just like it's a long point, man. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Can I say something? I've already heard this song a few times because me and Nigel usually swap songs a few days before submission, so I've heard it a few times. I've had a chance to think about it, and I love. Nigel might have already heard some of this anyway, but I love that push me pull you with the drums and the guitars. It's like the guitars are going off on it, you know, all these riffs, and the drums are just really cool and laid back. For a lot of the song, there's just one backbeat at the end of every second bar, and it really comes in and hits you, you know. Actually, I could say a lot about it, but basically, it's my favourite song that I've heard of Nigel's, and it suits his voice perfectly. And if you don't take it to the band, well, I'll have it for mine.
Thank you, Glenn. No, I do appreciate your feedback. And yeah, the drums, actually, it was a placement, as we were just saying a few minutes ago, sort of there was a placement drummer in there, one of the GarageBand drummers. That snare on the second bar was programmed in, and then I thought, no, actually, I like that. I'm going to keep that in, and built the rest of around it.
Your guitar work was like phenomenal in there. It was really cool. Is that you playing, or like have you?
Yeah.
Man, that's the clearest I think I've heard you play guitar. Like you could really hear those note choices, man. It was really nice.
It was a simple chord progression. So like as Pete's a 3-chord song really, and that opens the initial sort of scratch track. So when Glenn sent me over his track first off, and he had sort of the guitar laid out as the full-fledged chords through it, and I kind of went, okay, yeah, I see what he's done here. He's got the idea down, and I thought I'd try that. So when I initially recorded this one, it was the chords played out, and then when I removed the chords, I was like, okay, so what can I play instead? It was
put some guitar in. It was awesome. It was great, and yeah, there's some really nice little licks in there, and the bass also as well. You know, the whole thing. It really had a very early Chili Peppers vibe to it, which is right down my street.
Right.
Yeah,
cool.
The guitar, it was awesome, absolutely awesome, as Robbie says.
I think there's some stuff that you could do with your vocals a little bit now. Now that you got your laptop and your Mac and you're ready to kind of start to dive a bit deeper. I think you've got a close kind of ambient sort of room reverb going on with your vocals, and I think that's playing it a little bit safe for you. I think you should start to expand that a little bit now. So I think that maybe you should look at some saturation and kind of a bit more of a fuzzier sound for your vocal. I think that might sound really good for that genre of music, just to kind of cut through a little bit. I don't know what you're using in terms of your mic or whatever, but you'll naturally get more of a sort of, I don't know, a growlier kind of grip to your vocal. And I think with that kind of rap kind of Chili Pepper, Kiedis kind of vibe, I think it will just sound really nice in there and it'll blend nice. So maybe just something to look at, maybe cut the reverb you got at the moment that's keeping it close, expand the sound with a longer reverb and maybe some saturation to give yourself just a little bit more grit on there. But if it's something you're looking to dabble into, I think it would be exciting to see the growth over the next few months of you using your laptop or whatever and seeing where that goes, man. But what a great starting point. I think that is going to be a really cool song to work on with the band, man. And like you said, if you don't, I think we're all going to be tapping you up to steal that song at some point.
Let me paint you a picture. Now, we're all in this listening party together, listening to the magical mayhem of this month's listening party. The music is mystical. The music is magical. The music is mighty. We're all having a great time. We look to our left and we look to our right and we see members bopping along. And then we look straight in front and what do we see? We see Joe Fox doing some gardening. It's now his time, but he continues to garden. He's gardening so goddamn well. My God. Is there anything this guy can't do? He plants and he makes music. I don't know. I'm waffling on. Take it away, Joe. Take it away.
Okay, so the song is called Time, Please Forget About Me. And the idea being, well, this is a really good example, is that I'm always struggling for time and always wanting to get more and more time, but never having enough. And so if I had a magic power, it would be that the time could forget about me. And so that's what the song is about. Any kind of feedback that anyone wants to give is all welcome. Thank you very much for the time of listening.
And time. The same as before. Time.
Oh, mate, he's good at gardening and he's good at music.
Everything,
Save
isn't he?
something for the rest of us, dude. Come on, dude. Jesus.
Tasty.
Yeah. Where do we start? I love the fact that built, and it got to the point where I was like, where is the classic Joe Fox in this song? And then the outro was just classic Joe Fox. I literally wrote down, brought back the OG, literally like saved it up. I was like, it's going to come at some point. He's going to have that kind of proper like pop rock sound. And yeah, you brought it back towards the end, dude. It was fucking huge sound, man. There's so many interesting dynamics throughout that whole piece. A beautiful composition at the start. Really, really vulnerable on the vocals. Probably the most vulnerable piece I think you've written, which is like you could hear that come through, man. Oof.
I found it's really hard to sing whispered vocals. It took me a long time to try and get that. So anyone that can do it, my hat's off to you. It's really hard.
It's intimate, wasn't it? The crystal clear vocal at the beginning. It was almost like you were whispering in your ear.
Yeah,
you really captured that.
And then to mix it with the huge sound, like the sort of the stadium wall of sound, sort of just the juxtaposition of it. Really, really cool. And took me by surprise. Loved it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's. I couldn't work out if it was an intro or the closer of an album or just its own thing entirely, or just basically it didn't need anything else. It was an album, you know. It kind of had all of it in a strange way, man. That was a brilliant song, dude. I didn't expect that. Your message said to me that you kind of were in the pressure cooker. You worked for an hour and then that was kind of it. I'm like, fucking hell, dude. How'd you do that like that quickly, man? Like,
just had to knuckle down, and there was no time for analysis paralysis, really. So it was just I was mixing as I was going, basically.
Yeah, dude.
And I set the timer and just said, whatever I get at the end of the 2 hours is what I've got.
Yeah. Sometimes like Carys was saying that, wasn't it? That sometimes the pressure just pulls it out of you, and you've got it, and you haven't got too many choices to make. You've just got to get it down. So
exactly, yeah.
So sometimes, the whole pressure thing of getting that song in and the monthly thing sometimes really helps. Certainly, but again, I think it was Carys said that I write a song every month now at least. Otherwise, you might have gone back to this and you think, well, I don't like this or that, but you've done it.
Yeah.
Great! What a great product,
Cheers, man. I appreciate that. Let's hope that the plant comes out as well.
Is there a deadline on that as well?
Well, today, basically.
It's not going to rain today, I don't think.
No, it's the only day apparently for like the next 10 years. So
this is summer.
Yeah, this is the day. This is the summer day. Yeah.
Joe, when you said obviously you're under pressure, you had to write it in a couple of hours, and I'll tell you what, that must have come out in the song because it was tension, build-up tension all the way through, and it was everything. Obviously, it was the production, it was the music, guitars, everything, lyrics. I mean, the way you built the lyrics up as well. It's like a beautiful little tense story, and the drums, the way you used those toms were brilliant. Sometimes it was just like bop. Bop, bop. At other times it was like brum, brum. And it was just really, really, I loved it, mate.
Oh, thanks, Glenn. I appreciate that.
If I eat two, what will happen to me? So I'll feel like a cat, but also like a killer whale? Right, this is very confusing. I'll buy it after. I need to finish my job first, but all right, fair enough. Okay. Oh, we're still recording. Oh, God. All right. If you heard any of that, I was having a conversation with Jared, and it was about mushrooms. Plain mushrooms. Nothing wrong with the mushrooms. We're fine.
Basically, just one dude talking another dude, and teaching him how to, take shrooms, basically. It's kind of a joke. I don't condone taking shrooms, guys. I just thought it fit the topic. So, and if your sub is really loud, I would turn it down slightly before listening.
Crikey, I don't know what to say really. Because I don't really, I've sort of heard this sort of thing, sort of like faithless, that sort of stuff in the past,
Yeah.
Which I quite like, but I'd just never be able to sort of create something like that, or I might have a double one week actually on 1 month. This if we could be laugh.
Yeah.
But I just really liked it. Yeah, it's just all the sort of build up and stuff, and the sort of the rising volumes as you build up to increasing the beat, that sort of thing. Yeah.
I think that's probably the key takeaway I think most people are going to have here is that the tension builds were really, really good, Jared, in that. I think it didn't have like a drop per se where it built and then there was this big kind of explosion of sound. It was just continuum, which obviously naturally for Magic Mushrooms is quite good. But no, I think the slow build up was great. I thought the tongue-in-cheek conversation between the two characters was really funny, especially the Was that you, by the way? It sounded like it wasn't you.
It was all me. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I thought that was really funny. There was the one thing I was going to suggest was the I felt like that should have just kept running, like just kept coming back, like magic mushrooms, huh? Oh,
that would have been a good idea. Yeah,
I just kind of wanted more of it. I was like, it's such a little comedic like part.
I was going to ask, how do you? I mean, like Pete said, where would you even start to create a track? Is it all external synths that you own, or are you using stuff that's in Logic? Are you using Logic or?
Yeah, I'm using Logic, but I don't know. I usually just create one sound and then I create another sound and then I just kind of mess around with it. So like,
is that within the software instruments, or is this something that you just do independently of it, or samplers, or how do you even?
No, it's a program called Serum, and you can make your own synths. Well, you can make your own synths in the base of Logic as well, but I really like Serum because you can go really in depth with a lot of things. Like you can make your own waveforms and stuff. So really good. If you're trying to get into like producing, I really recommend Serum.
Next up is a first-time song submission, so you need to listen and listen good and proper. It's Jame Stott, everybody. Jame Stott. Here we go.
The feedback that I mainly wanted was how to like make a chorus sound a bit more cohesive, because like I wanted to get a chorus that was dynamically bigger than everything else, but it just kind of became something that was so far removed.
He has some great dynamics in the song. I felt, there's really delicate parts, and then so just to emphasize that chorus, I guess, what we're always just saying, just really sort of bring that in a little bit more on the instrumentation, and obviously the vocals. There's some really nice double vocals in that last chorus. Maybe use a little bit more. I mean, I completely different from what I'm doing, but I quite often use little subtle harmonies on certain phrases, and that just really just cuts through. You in your chorus, just little doubling up and even tripling up on different phrases. Really, just makes it jump out as opposed to the verses and stuff.
Thank you.
The song was lovely. The song was
well impressed.
Don't take anything from that.
And again, it's a completely different genre. It's great to hear different stuff like this because, I say, it's difficult for some of us to relate to that because I'm old. But my kids listen to it, and really good, really good.
I think the main point you made there, Tim, for yourself, James, you did a really good job of the dynamics. I put the dynamically is perfect throughout, and I think you don't need to worry about changing anything going into the chorus. You give it the pop because you drop down and have this delicate section beforehand. So I think in terms of making it sort of come out any more than it needs to, I don't think you need to worry in that sense. I think maybe something as simple as like a production technique, and I'm sure Jake and Jared can kind of allude to this a little bit more, but almost like a backwards cymbal kind of bringing you into like a backwards crash that swirls into the chorus, kind of like makes you kind of jump, and there's tension going into something instead of it just popping out of nowhere. Maybe try something like that. I don't know if that's something that you've dabbled in the past that makes much sense, or
is that like you reverse the audio and then
that's it. So you'd reverse it and it would sort of whoosh itself into the chorus, and you kind of have it's just a small little technique some producers do just to kind of add some tension going into different sections. But I think dynamically it's genuinely probably really on point. I think vocally we're all probably going to mention how good your vocals are in there. The chorus is a really strong chorus. I don't think you need to worry about adding anything in terms of flavor with adding any kind of guitars or any kind of synths. I think it is just getting that pop on point going into it. But I think in terms of the composition, an excellent song, really catchy, and you could definitely hear that. It's very commercial, really commercial. I can imagine it on the radio. So good work, James. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Add to that sort of commercial flavor, and also to kind of riff off the idea of harmonies. I think you didn't necessarily need to re-record the vocal multiple times. If you use some sort of auto-tuning program, it doesn't even have to be that accurate or that like natural sounding. In fact, in this kind of style, a less natural vocal might actually sound a bit more sort of in key with that kind of genre. Just using like an auto tuner and then pitching the vocal around can really help and make something like that sound quite poppy. I don't actually think you need to add that for this song actually, but as an idea for like future work, that could be.
So is it common to not re-record like the chorus? Like, is it like in like a lot of songs, is the chorus like just like a copy and paste of like?
I think in this sort of genre, yes. Like you could do it either way. You could either re-record it and have it doubled, although it can be quite tricky to double yourself. I found that it can cause quite a few problems. But if you're going for harmonies, I think actually I think it's quite common to just copy it over and then auto tune it into whatever pitch you need it to be in.
I would suggest for pop, for this sort of genre, you're right, up to an extent. I think to add, I think there's almost a chance that you lose the person, you lose the character feel of the song if you continue to chop sections and move them into other. I think having that feel of a vocalist embellishing, kind of coming out of a chorus and going into a bridge, you need to be able to hear that vocally. So Jake's right up to an extent. If you're looking for a quick work to get something done, chop and change, push it into the other chorus. But the more you can practice your own vocal and you could really hear you as the vocalist, and even if there is the odd mistake, that makes it more human. And I think you'll get more listener and more interaction with the song and wanting to come back to hear you as the human being instead of the robot that has been chopped and changed across, essentially. So it's trying to find a fine line. You are right, for pop, it's used a lot more often, but don't shy away from using your vocals because you've got a great vocal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I meant it more as like a sort of added effect rather than the main thing. I've actually had a lot of fights with my auto-tuning software recently trying to get like a natural sound. And I've ended up having to go to like the tiniest level where I've like replayed the vocal into it and then adjusted each note and chopped up different words so that there are some that are like completely unaffected and then others that are like really harshly done just to get that kind of effect.
Wow.
Yeah, so it can get quite time consuming.
Sounds like a rabbit hole, Jake. Sounds like a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, as like I would agree with Robbie there. Like for the main one, you want to try and keep it quite natural. I think you've got quite a good natural vocal, so leave it there. But
I'd say,
yeah, yeah. I was just going to say regarding the bass, you could use a synth sub bass to try and like boost the chorus. I think that's quite common. Just like something that's not almost inaudible, but just adds to that kind of tension in the background.
I would say that there's some good resources as well that Glenn posted a few weeks back. Some websites about song structures and such as well. So maybe writing with the aim of having like a pre-chorus, and then you've got kind of like this stepping stone that you can. That you can put in there
towards. Yeah.
I was reading the Native Instruments article yesterday, but that was after I made this, so the timing was just off. But
yeah.
It's all progress. It's all progress.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think the beauty of like doing the month by month book club thing, I think you're able to kind of reflect and see the growth. So you'll be able to like look 3 or 4 months down the line, like, oh wow, like what was I doing there? Like look at my choruses now, they pop, they do all these things, I'm using backward cymbals constantly, it's one of those things, but a great first song submission, really, really, really cool. And thank you for submitting that, dude. It was really nice to hear.
Before I go into hibernation, I think it's key that we bring down the curtain on tonight's show. And doing that is Jake T, everybody. Let's give it up for Jake T. Yeah, you in the back. Thank you very much. I need to get some sleep. That much is true. Anyway, Jake T, over to you.
Yeah, so I started writing this about one topic, and then I don't know, I realized that the lyrics could work another way. So I sort of started leaning into that, and then I thought, actually, I'll try and keep them kind of ambiguous. So I'm interested to see what other people come up with, what they think the lyrics are about, to try and guess what was going in my head, I guess. I don't know. And feedback-wise, rip it apart.
Like promises, you tumble down, breaking under the immense pressure. Maybe I'm wrong, perhaps I'm blind, but you seem to be doing just.
So I started it off as a kind of song, but just about a relationship that went sour. Then I actually kind of started moving it towards more about politics.
What I got.
Yeah.
That was my fear. That was my fear. It was going to be.
Yeah. No, actually, I think it was Henry posted a video from Rick Beato into the Writers Lounge. I'd actually seen a bit of it before I saw or before the post, but if anyone's interested, that's a really interesting look into the modern industry.
I'm the same as Robbie. I got a bit distracted just trying to work out it was, and I worked out it could be it could be a relationship, obviously, and it could be about a politician. But what I love about it is talk about metaphors. The whole song was a metaphor, wasn't it? Using the magician and that, and the sleight of hand. Them opening lines, I can't remember what it said exactly, but they were fantastic. I loved it. You know, the sleight of hand, all the sound and all that. But I think what it did, it told a story, but left enough ambiguity to make our own sort of valuation on it. You know, so it could be a love story, it could be politician, it could be anything, couldn't it? And that's Dave Bowie was good at that, wasn't he? You know. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Yeah, nice one, Jake.
Thanks, Ben.
I think the track had a real Ultravox 80s vibe to it, just generally, as a comment. So I've written down again, I was trying to work out what it was all about. Vocals, as always, very, very polished.
Yeah, I think that's.
I love the chorus, that sort of leading backing vocal, wasn't it? Reverse technique of, instead of having a follow, it sort of came in with the backing, and then the main came over. I like that really. That's quite clever.
Yeah, I think that's a good point there, Tim. I think it's almost overlooked. I think how far your vocals have come over the last 2 years or 3 years or so now. I think it just seems to be like a mainstay of a good vocal melody. You know, I'm not even considering you should do this or that. It's it's a really well polished song overall now, not just the production. The vocals really sit well and they're a highlight. So I kind of almost take it for granted in a strange way, dude. I think really well done with the vocals again. It was it was really strong.
Thank you.
Henry's written in there. I was going to say that. Well, there you go. So two minds become one, I guess. But
I was going to say something along the lines of Tim there. The backing vocal almost kind of like precursor in the chorus lines. I really like that, and then the way that they built and rise throughout the first part of the chorus to have its own instrument sort of space. I thought that was really cool. I would like to have had an intro on this one, Jake. If I'm making a suggestion, I'd like.
No, I struggled with that. I really struggled with the theme in general. And yeah, the intro, I just couldn't figure out how to start it off. So I just thought, just go straight into it.
Hang straight in there.
Yeah,
those top lyrics.
Also trying to write shorter songs, trying to hit sort of 3.5 minutes.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, no,
it's impossible. Yeah. I can't. I did it, and then I got told off. But no, I totally think what Henry said. But yeah, I find that you've got to. What do you lose though? What do you take out?
Well, an intro apparently.
Well, there it is. We made it. That's a wrap on May's theme magic. Congratulations to everybody who submitted a song this month. Please remember that there is a bunch of other song submissions that weren't featured on today's episode, so head on over to the Camuso player and listen to those and these songs in full. Jake T and Pete Youngman have started doing these wonderful write-ups for the month by month group, so make sure you don't miss those and maybe try writing your own. We all love feedback on our music. This Saturday is our next lyric writing workshop. Please make sure you RSVP via the events page if you're attending. If I don't see you then, I shall see you at the next listening party. Take care, everybody, and I shall see you very soon. Bye for now.